Kim. We're here. We're here. Good night, everybody, and welcome once again to another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host with the most, and not a ghost, Yuri Arman Camp from Nassau, Bahamas, along with my beautiful co-host from Trinidad and Tobago, Miss Kimberly Ramcalawan. We're broadcasting live on the LimeVibe Live podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Please like, share, and subscribe our videos on YouTube and Facebook. Please like, share, and subscribe to our videos on Facebook and YouTube. It really helps us out a lot. So, Kim, what's going on with you, man?
Hey Yori, it's a Friday evening here in Trinidad. We should be live on LimeVibe tonight here. Coming live.
Yeah, Friday evening. You have any plans tonight? After the show?
No. I've become a home buddy. I've become an old I stay home.
Okay. My special cousin, I think she's still away in London. I don't know when she's coming back, so I have no plans tonight. And I was going to pick up another friend of mine, but they said they're not feeling well, so I'm going to leave them alone.
All righty.
I'm home tonight too. I'm contemplating what I should do in the morning though. Should I go and take the 10-miler around to Bahama, or should I go to the 66 steps in the bridge? I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. All depends on how I feel, you know, and it all depends on the rain too. But if it rains early in the morning, I'm just going to lay in bed until about 6, and then go to the 66 steps in the bridge. But if it doesn't rain, I'm probably going to get up and go do the 10-miler around to Bahama and the West Bay Street. So, yeah, I'm still up and down, but I'm not sure which I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out tomorrow. If I get up 4 o'clock and it's not raining, I'll go and do the 10-miler.
That's your weekend plans, your Saturday morning.
Yep, my weekend plans. Yep. I'm looking for a guest for the Sunday podcast. I'm looking for another guest. Hopefully I can find somebody that's suitable. I could sit down for about an hour or so and sit down and talk. Because I haven't done a Sunday podcast in a while. But I have a few chalked up already. You know, if you look on the LimeVibe YouTube page, I have at least about 10. So I try to do 2 on a Sunday, so I can have plenty backed up. A lot of these special interviews. So I'm looking for another guest. So hopefully I'll find something between now and tomorrow to sit down on Sunday to have the recorded podcast. But otherwise, not. Yeah, that's my weekend planned out.
Right, and a lot has been happening with you guys. I think Kamala left, right?
Oh yeah, Kamala left. Kamala Harris. You say Kamala, right? And I was saying Kamala, but Kamala's your girl. Kamala's Basar.
Kamala Harris.
But it's the same spelling, though, isn't it?
No, it's not.
No? It's Kamala's KMLA, right?
Right. That's our former prime minister. She's KAMLA. And Kamala Harris is KAMALA. She has an additional A between the M and the L.
Yes, Kamala. That's a beautiful name, though, Kamala. But I just can't forget the rest of the Kamali, the Ugandan giant. I can't ever, remove the name Kamala from Kamala Harris into Kamali, the Ugandan giant, the Ugandan giant. Two totally polar opposite people.
Totally. One's a female, one's a male. One exactly. Of the Western world.
Yes, indeed. But anyway, other than that, though, yeah, she came and she left a lot to talk about. She promised about $100 million on behalf of the United States to go to the Caribbean nations. She's going to build 2 new embassies in the Eastern Caribbean states, and they haven't decided which countries yet, but they're going to build 2 new embassies. So we'll see how that happens. Most likely, it's going to be in Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I can almost assure you of that. Yeah, because they need the embassies, from what I understand. So most likely,
Grenada for sure, but I would anticipate them probably expanding. I know that in Trinidad they plan to expand, so we actually have plans. They recently bought over a country club, and that's quite a good bit of acreage, and that was handed over probably about 2 months ago. So they are moving from around the savannah toward a more inner part of our city, Port of Spain.
All right.
And they said to expand over there because I think they wanted to increase their homeland security office space there.
Okay.
Anticipated that I know a good bit of money was spent there in Port of Spain.
Okay. So you've been seeing the transformation the United States has been doing with the embassy over there.
They promised that, and the new ambassador that came to Trinidad, she highlighted that on their page.
Oh, okay. So they've started talking even before that, because she said they hadn't really committed to which islands they're going to. So,
well, I know that the plans are on the way. and they highlighted it on their page some months ago that they had taken over the Trinidad Country Club property. It's a wider foot space. I guess it was hinted that they were going to increase their Homeland Security office space here.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So that's for Trinidad. But can Trinidad be classified as an Eastern Caribbean state?
We aren't usually, but we're not part of the OECS, so I'm not sure if we are considered Eastern.
So I would think that would be Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, and Dominica, right? Yeah. That's why I said Grenada and St. Vincent. But I think they also want to watch. People are really watching the citizenship by investment as well. These programs, and there are a lot of Eastern Europeans and Chinese that are sneaking through the door through this passport for citizenship. And they need to watch that around the region. So I'm assuming one of those citizenship by investment countries, they're going to get a large investment from the United States with regard to an embassy to manage and watch all these people that are coming in and out of the Caribbean with these passports. But otherwise than that, that's $100 million she pledged. And so that's 2 new embassies. They also pledged some money for climate change initiatives as well. Now, apparently this money is going to be split up in 3 parts, 30 million here, another 30 million there, another 30 million there. And I think they pledged about 35 million for climate change initiatives, which is a drop in the bucket when you really look at it, Kim.
It is. And compared to what the US does, because the US has been classed as one of the top contributors to climate, the impact it's having on climate.
Yeah. I know in our editorial in the Caribbean Magazine Plus, I said, man, not only is it a drop in the bucket, but what exactly can we do about climate change with $30 million? Build a few seawalls? That's not going to help the situation.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We need for the larger countries to actually stop their carbon footprint. We need them to ease up. We need the United States, China, and the European Union to stop damaging the atmosphere. That's what we need. Otherwise, there's very little we can do about it with $30 million. We could build some houses on some stilts, but then who are going to get these houses? Most likely the rich people who could afford it, right? And the poor people are still going to be in the valley.
Because, 30 million, what we really need here in the Caribbean when it comes to our defense mechanisms, it's more than seawalls. It's more, you need to change the way climate change is affecting us.
Yes.
And that is the rising sea levels,
Exactly.
how it affects it.
Exactly. And the quality of the air and the quality of the sea, And
then we also have climate change that affects us with increased storms and storm activity, and hurricanes and floods and rains.
Yes. Speaking of floods, I hear now Jamaica's been flooding right during this season. Jamaica's flooding, and some parts.
We're anticipating a heavy drought.
Oh wow! Okay.
Prime Minister Holness talking about the drought that they were experiencing, and I believe earlier this week they announced that we were actually in El Nino, the El Nino. In 2023, which says that climate change is happening. We've been experiencing La Nina, which is usually more rainfall. So when we're supposed to have rainfall right now, it's all rainy season in the Caribbean. We're experiencing some dry weather.
Okay, so El Nino. Did I tell you the joke of when they first started to experience El Nino in the United States? That's how ignorant people are, right? They start calling up El Nino inside the phone book. Anyway, but they also pledged some assistance for Haiti as well, too, Kim. She also pledged some assistance for Haiti, and they need it right now because apparently there was an earthquake, 4.9 earthquake that hit Haiti on June 6th. That's about 2 days ago, yeah. And they're going through it, man. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, they need the help too. And it's a relatively small earthquake compared to what hit them in 2010, but still there was an earthquake nonetheless. So we need to be with our Haitian brothers and sisters as they started to flee the island again in mass droves from the earthquake. Man, I don't know what they're doing in Haiti, but man, my goodness, man, God has to heal their land, man. That's all I have to say, Kim. All I have to say. I hope some of that money goes towards the triple threat. I shouldn't say the triple threat, but the triad union of the former prime ministers that are going to help to assist to administer Haiti, to provide administration services to Haiti while they get prepared for the next election. I guess have you heard Bruce Golding, Kenny Anthony, and Prime Minister Freddie Christie, from Jamaica, St. Lucia, and the Bahamas, respectively. They're going to, be charged with providing good officers to Haiti to help to administer Haiti while they're going through this period of transition. And the first thing I think they should do, Kim, they should just really push Ariel Henry to the side. Just get rid of him, because he's useless. He wasn't really an elected official. You realize that, right?
Yeah. Well, they had to put someone in position, a sitting, at least have someone sitting to do the official signatories and what have you. You need someone like that. So
yeah,
they have to bring some sort of stability to their nation before elections.
yeah. So I think these prime ministers, these former prime ministers, they're going to provide that, because Ariel Henry showed you that he's a failure and he failed at it, and so we should just kick him to the side because he's not an elected official. He was appointed. Actually, everyone knows the situation, how he got there in the first place. He was selected by Jovenel Moise right before he was assassinated, but Jovenel Moise did not actually ratify his position as the prime minister of Haiti. And all of a sudden, after Jovenel Moise was assassinated, he just assumed the position as prime minister, even though someone else was already serving as the prime minister. All right, so it's kind of wicked and murky the way he came into being. And it just goes to show you that when you do things that are against the will and nature of what the righteous leaders are, you're going to have this turmoil and chaos. And right now you're having turmoil and chaos in Haiti because your leaders are unelected and they came through by nefarious and wicked means. And so you're reaping the benefits of it. Ariel Henry has proved to be a failure, man. So hopefully Perry Christie, Kenny Anthony, and Bruce Golding can provide some stability and support to Haiti while they get through that next step to the next general election. I've been speaking back and forth with the presidential hopeful, Mr. Jude Ellis. Right. Yeah, I've been speaking back and forth with him, and he seems very hopeful in his chances. He's been traveling the world. He's been gathering financial support from around the international agency. So hopefully we'll see a nice crop of candidates come out for the presidential elections. I've seen also that this Jerry Tardieu, I can't pronounce his last name. He's apparently this Haitian intellectual. He went to Harvard and he's an author. Apparently, he wants to throw his hat into the ring as well. I'm in a Haitian international group chat, and they talk about all this stuff. Yeah, right. I get all the gapsy, but they always have these bright ideas about Haiti, but no one's actually back there in Haiti actually doing anything on the ground. So it's just really sad how the intellectual wealth of Haiti has been pulled out of it, and they are all around the world now, and no one's actually back there in Haiti to actually help the build. But apparently Jerry Tardieu, he's a Harvard-trained professional, and we'll see if he could actually bring some support. He has a name, he has a gravitas, people love him, and so we'll see if he can actually bring something towards Haiti. Otherwise than that, Kim, we wish them all the best. So what else is happening, Kim? That's three things that Kamala promised, and she also promised some security help as well, to help with security.
Right. Yeah.
With tracking the guns.
So I saw that she had, when it came to Haiti, she said that they were setting up something like a transnational crime investigative unit.
Yes.
Something that it's the U.S. Department of State is supposed to support, and to help collaborate with the Haitian police. And it's supposed to help investigate and prosecute transnational crimes happening there, as well as including firearms and ammunition, smuggling, human trafficking, and whatever transnational gang activity happening in Haiti.
Yes.
So that's part of it. And I think that we have the crime gun intelligence unit set up here in Trinidad.
Yes.
It's a regional thing. I believe it works with CARICOM Impacts. So she spoke about that, the Department of State, and this is what we were talking about. So they wanted to establish a Homeland Security investigations, and they wanted to increase something like their Customs and Border Protection, along with Interpol. So all of these things are supposed to help address the whole firearms investigations and training happening here in the Caribbean. So we'll see how much putting the metal to work here in the Caribbean.
Yes, we will. And that's hopefully that lawsuit with the Caribbean countries and Mexico will actually make some progress. That appeals case, that multi-billion-dollar appeals case against the gun manufacturers in the United States. Let's see if that could actually work and actually curb some of the firearms that are coming into the Caribbean through the United States. But I just want to let you know something. As gun laws tighten in the United States, you realize there are more and more guns flowing to the Caribbean and Latin America.
I would say so. Perhaps, it's more, I guess, liberty to move within the region.
Yes,
but it's coming from all sides. It's not just coming from Florida, Miami. We're getting it through Central America and South America.
Yes, yes, yes. Because
Coming from, it's twofold in that sense, and it's a matter of us protecting our borders.
yes, it is, it is, it
Comes
is.
down to that.
It is because we can't stop people from doing what they want to do. We can't stop them from making guns. We can't stop them from using guns. We can stop them from getting into our countries, and that's good. It's amazing how this has really, really gone on so long, man. I mean, my goodness, the guns in the streets, but guns don't kill people. You know, people kill people. I believe in that, though, Kim. I believe that people kill people.
But what are your thoughts? I mean, she had a lot to say when it came to the involvement of the United States Department of State working with all Caribbean law enforcement when it comes to capacity building, when it comes to criminal justice. And I believe they were pushing something even for forensic accreditation in certain parts of the Caribbean, such as the Bahamas and
Yes,
St. Lucia.
yes,
So a lot of things she promised when it came to lending support to our criminal justice system. And we really do need that kind of support when it comes to effectively bringing a kind of clamp onto what's happening with our crime situation.
yes, yes. I agree. I agree. But by and large, we have good police officers and we have good detection. So we have good, I would say, and arrest rates as well. So I think our police force, they're doing a fine job. They're doing a fantastic job. What happens is a lot of these criminals, they fall through the cracks. I don't know how it is in Trinidad, but I know here in the Bahamas, we give bail to murderers.
Well, and you know that there's been a whole thing when it came to blaming when it's a back and forth in parliament between the two parties, the opposition and the government, or they did not support the bail amendment law.
Yeah.
And that's why we have so many criminals on the loose. They're able to access bail. And when they counteract it in parliament, they say, oh, they're not really supporting it. But the justice system is flawed. And you see that you have cases coming daily at the court, and police are not showing up. Police refuse to report and show up and make their court appearances to verify the information, to verify evidence. And things go missing as well. So when it comes to prosecution, you have criminals walking free.
Yes, and that's so sad. And that's even before you get to the precedent that's being set in many of these countries. Because once you give one person bail, everyone else is going to expect bail. So you really can't fight against the precedent that you've set. And that's the way the common law really works, you know. The common law works in that extent that once you make adjudication in one case, it's going to affect cases to come down the line, man. So we had a case stemming back in the 80s where this guy, he shot this Greek guy. He shot a man that was apparently trespassing on a friend of his property. And that's murder. You can't really shoot somebody on somebody else's property. And so they gave him bail and he skipped town. And he ended up coming back, but he never really served the time. And he was acquitted. And they gave him bail for that murder. And after that case, everyone's been getting bail for murder. And it's been from the mid-80s that you've been giving bail for murderers. People convicted or charged with murder. And so it's been like that. And now we have a case now where you have these guys who are on bail. They're getting killed now. And so it's been a really, really disgusting situation that's been happening here in the Bahamas, man. It's scary how we've let this country deteriorate to such an extent because we're so slack and we're so weak and we can't make a decision, Kim. Just can't you know.
It's the same thing here in Trinidad when it comes to our crimes. Things like that happen all the time. We see it. They come, they walk, and then you have the vigilantes come out too, and well, actually the police, and it's like, okay, well, let's just kill them and get rid of them from the streets.
I know it's hard for us to think of. We're a stone's throw away from Haiti, you know. We're a stone's throw away from collapse. Yeah, we are a stone's throw away from collapse, like how we see in Haiti. We're just stone's throw away. We are one natural disaster away from absolute chaos. You know, because I shudder to think if Dorian had happened in Nassau and not Abaco and Grand Bahama, we would have been in a mess, Kim.
Definitely.
Absolutely overrun. This country could not have survived. But God was good and he was merciful, but he didn't let Dorian hit Nassau. He was merciful.
I mean, for that storm, I always remember seeing that storm there for 48 hours, stationary, not moving. And you really wondered how in the world could something like this even occur? It seemed almost unnatural because hurricanes are something that's constantly moving.
It was.
And it was almost stagnant there for that period of time.
I'll tell you the truth, Kim. That Hurricane Dorian came for that shanty town that housed thousands of illegal immigrants and illegal dwellings. It came for that shanty town in Abaco, and it destroyed that shanty town, absolutely obliterated it. But the hundreds of lives were lost. And we still don't even know the full count of how many lives were lost in that shanty town because we're not sure exactly who all was living in it. And that's the scary thing about it. And it's a great shame in the Bahamas we have these shanty towns, That's a great shame in the Bahamas. But otherwise than that, that storm came for that shanty town in Abaco, what we call the mud and pigeon pea. And God did what man could not do. And we saw it directly in Abaco and Grand Bahama. God did what we could not do. And so that's what it was, Kim.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at Kamala's visit, do you see it as being something hopeful in addressing our issues? I know that the whole meeting stems from last year's June meeting they had, which was titled a Caribbean Partnership to Address Climate Change, PAC 2030. They outlined several things for the region. So they want to have.
I like how she didn't come with a hand swing. She came with money. She didn't come with a bunch of talks and a bunch of punishment. She didn't come with a hand swing.
US aid, right? It's US aid.
US aid, right. She came with $100 million worth of talk. And that's what you need. But you need more than that, though, Auntie Kamala. You need more than that, man. That's a drop in the bucket if you want to solve those three big issues: Haiti, climate change, and security. You need $100 million. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. And you could spend more than that. The Chinese are going to come in and spend $100 million on one resort alone, just to show you how serious they are. So you can't come with $100 million. Don't stop being cheap, US. Stop being cheap. You could print money. Stop being cheap. Spend the money.
But talking about the climate change, I think they had outlined something like a storms risk surge mapping, something that they're working with the National Hurricane Atmospheric Administration people. That's NOAA, right? They're the people that are in charge of hurricanes. So storm mapping to help mitigate the storm surge that we usually face with storms and hurricanes to minimize it.
Trinidad needs that as much as more than anybody, right?
No, I would think smaller islands like you guys. I mean, we have our issues here, but we don't really get the storms as bad as you guys. Remember, I said that we're around the hurricane belt. We're just below it, so we don't usually get that. We have a lot of floods that happen on the plains, floods that happen in the low-lying areas, because of what's happening with our rivers and a lot of rainfall.
So I can imagine those countries that are far flung out into the Eastern Caribbean, right, into the Atlantic Ocean.
I see that Barbados experiences things like that. Dominica, St. Lucia, those islands tend to have more of that.
What really helps us in the Bahamas is that we have large reefs here, and it really breaks some of that storm surge. So while the waves may crash, they don't crash as hard because the reefs, they really break up the storm, the surge, the sea surge. And so we could actually think along those lines. That'd be great, like I said, she didn't come with a hand swinging. She came with some money, but you need more than that. You need more than $100 million, man.
But she came also with some kind of development financing for the Caribbean, that being also part of the PAC 2030. They're looking at something called World Bank Evolution, which is the Americans supporting multilateral development banks to evolve their business models when it comes to addressing the issues that we experience with climate change, the fallout from the pandemic, and things like that. So all of these things also are stemming from what Myanmar Motley would have done with the Bridgetown Initiative. So everyone is kind of taking a cue from the Bridgetown Initiative, and America has said they're going to support the IDB, I believe, with $100 million to help with this Bridgetown low carbon economic development towards climate change, resilience for climate change. So we see them imploring the multilaterals to have an impact on our development framework here in the region.
Let's just hope the money isn't wasted like how it's normally wasted through these international development agencies, right?
I know.
Because I could see the money being frittered away in these not bureaucratic systems, but these networks of criminality and theft, really high class theft. Because didn't I tell you recently that the World Bank is still giving Haiti money that's not actually there to receive the money?
Wow.
Isn't that
But
wicked?
I know that Jamaica and Barbados has benefited quite a good bit from the IMF. And I think we've seen things turn around for the better in both of those islands when it came to, what the IMF did. and
Yes.
then we
Governments who could receive the money though. They have governments that actually could administer the funds. Haiti has nothing, man.
compared to, I remember Mala Dukran talking a bit about Belize was currently undergoing something with the IMF, but it's a matter of adhering to the policies and recommendations put forward by the International Monetary Fund.
But you want to hear my take on the IMF? I don't believe a country needs the IMF. Once you go to the IMF, that means you're already in such a dire state that you really desperately need the IMF. I think most of your problems can be solved by yourself with a bit of prudence and a bit of tightening your belt. I really believe
That's
that.
the economist in you for sure, and I see that definitely.
Yeah.
And I know they've always painted the IMF as being the boogeyman, coming to you and putting you through all this rigorous austerity measures.
Because you know why? By the time the IMF comes in, you're already in such a state that they have to make these drastic changes instead of doing the things now and making the efforts now. That's why they're seen as the boogeyman, and they have to actually force you to do some of these things that you don't want to do. That's the thing. You have to be if you have to be forced to do it, then you're not serious about it, man. So you're really leading your country down to a pathway of destruction in any event. So,
but I mean, I see that with Mia Motley. She was pushing for them to change the way that they work with their policies. And what America is also trying to do here is look at the way that you handle concessional financing. So you have to do it in such a way that it will be sustainable long term.
Yes.
Right. To make the progress that a country needs to make to come out of that situation.
Yes. Not just free money, not just slack money, actually work with development countries. I know in the Bahamas case, they were listed as a developed country, and just so we couldn't access some of this funding. I think that's what Mia Motley was really trying to get at. You can't really block developing countries like us off because of our GDP and our GDP per capita. You can't block us off from financing when we actually need to finance it. And she's been a stellar, she's been a star. A beacon of hope. And a abyss of darkness.
When it comes to unlocking financing, the way it ought to be special drawing rights that small island developing states like ours have not been able to access of all these years. And she called out the Bretton Woods, these long-time institutions that have held back for so long and have looked down on us based on the policies that they've given us. And all of these things stem from, our colonial past and, how they have dogged us in such a way. They've already, pulverized us and taken so much from our nations, reduced it to nothing. And then they come and tell us, oh, well, you're already on an unfair playing field. Your GDP is so low, you can't access this much money, la, la, la. And, that continues, that perpetuates that cycle of poverty. We're talking a bit.
Getting to reparations now, Kim, right?
Yeah, I'm getting into that right now. In a sense that, the report was laid yesterday in Jamaica by Judge Patrick Robinson. He is of the International Court for Justice. And he came up, they did quite a good bit of research. And he worked with someone from the IMF that is noted, David Marston, who is of Jamaican heritage as well. And they tallied how much reparations is really owed, not just to the Caribbean region. Remember, slavery would have happened across the entire world. Almost every society has been tainted with, I believe, slavery. So it includes the Americas as well, all the way to Brazil. The transatlantic chattel slavery amounts to $108 trillion.
Yes, wow. With a T, not with a B, with a T, $1 trillion. $1
trillion.
Wow. How was their methodology in the report, though?
What's that?
How was their methodology in the report? How did they assess it?
Their report, it surveyed over the years how much slaves were brought, the enslaved was brought across to each state. It tallied, I think, the years that they benefited from this, the monies that they would have sent back to the colonial states. So it's not only the British, but it looks at the French, it looks at the Spanish, it looks at the Dutch.
Okay. And the Dutch have done a lot. They say Suriname should get a lion's share of whatever the Dutch left, right?
Yeah, it's a good bit that and actually the Netherlands issued an apology in December last year
Mhm. They send
for
you money?
yeah,
They
they
send you
actually
money?
I believe they sent some money as well.
Okay, that's good, right.
So
Can't
they've already
apologize for the money.
and we see that what England, however, was surprisingly they made mention of this
Mhm,
during the meeting
mhm,
that Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of England, was called upon to issue an apology
mhm.
for slavery, their role, the British rule in slavery, and he refused. And I was like, but you're a colored
Refuse?
person, you're in charge, and
He
you did
refused.
not. And he refused. And
Wow. So
so
he's not on my books now. The hell is
yeah,
this? Yeah.
but everyone is saying that he probably did it in a way because of why he did it because he would also have to apologize to the Indians.
Oh wow. But he's an Indian himself though. Why he should apologize to the Indians. He's an Indian himself, isn't he?
He's not going to do that.
Why not?
I believe his neck was on the chopping block. So that's why he probably said, okay, let me be safe and not
Oh,
say
so
this.
he's
But he
still
just came
practicing this caste system.
he just
He's
came
better.
across.
He's better than the rest of the other Indians. That's what you're saying. He's practicing a caste system.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, well, perhaps he is
Mm,
because he's actually married to one of the richest billionaires in the world.
mhm.
So
And
yeah.
that caste system is really still prevalent in Indian society, right? I've seen that another state in the United States they have done away with the caste system. The first was Colorado, I think it was, right? And I think the next one was Florida. Let me make this the Senate caste system, USA, ban. I'm sorry getting into all business, right? But no, Seattle was the first state, and the second state was Washington. No, not
We
Washington.
get into all business.
Yeah. No, I have to look. I have to look because I've heard a lot about it, right? US USA ban second state. Because I like these trivia things, you know. Actually, California, Seattle and California, they banned the caste system. So yeah, Indians in the Western Hemisphere are making some progress, you know. Because you do talk about you talk about black slavery. So why can't I talk about the caste system, Kim?
No, but you say it's
I'm
like
just
me. We don't
I'm
have that
curious.
issue so much here in Trinidad. At least I don't think so.
Okay.
We're not like that here in Trinidad, the Indians at least, you know. But it's the amount of money that he tabulated. However,
Mm,
interestingly, Judge Robinson says that not a single cent should come to the people itself.
mhm,
He's saying that committees ought to be set up in each country
mhm.
that suffered at the hand of these colonizers,
Okay.
and that the money should be given in the sense of for in the form of education,
Yes.
providing better health care,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
providing more
Yes.
opportunities for them when it comes to
Yes.
even land tenure as well. So while he is wary of, getting an apology first, which is what the Dutch did in December,
Mm,
he's looking at that, restitution and compensation really ought to be demanded, and it ought to come through advisory committees set out
yes.
and
Yes.
ensuring that they are compensated in such a way. But interestingly, he's also adding that our children aren't even being taught proper Caribbean history
Right.
as to
Right.
the impact slavery has had on people.
Yes.
He
Yes.
is not. He says things that should be taught at school level is not clear. A lot of our students are leaving the secondary school system without a proper understanding of our history, and
Yes.
that is
Yes.
very true. He's calling that the effects and the true impact of the transatlantic chattel slavery (TCS) ought to
Mhm,
be be made aware.
mhm.
And it's true. A lot of our children coming up today, they don't know their past.
No.
However, I've always said this. When Indian Arrival Day was observed last week here in Trinidad,
Mhm.
our children, they don't know our culture, but when they go abroad, they are held by that measuring stick of how they look. My
Yes.
skin is brown, my hair is straight. Your skin might be dark, you might have curly hair. People are going to associate you by race, and
Yes.
you may have an understanding of your past. You don't have an understanding of your culture, and
Right.
people are going to equate you to that without you having a full appreciation of your heritage, why you look this way. I'm not saying that we should be limited in that sense, but we are much more we are much more than that, our skin color. We are human beings.
What more on that, Kim?
But
What more on that?
we need to have an understanding of our cultural heritage and past. My mom's a school teacher, and she was talking a bit about, doubles. Her students, they don't know that the doubles is actually two bara. It's made of a bara, which makes it a pair, which is doubles.
Okay.
Children don't know our past. They don't know the musical instruments, why we play tassa, drums, these kinds of musical instruments. So it's a matter of learning our past. We've been made to acclimatize ourselves to more American culture rather than what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of been made to feel like you're ashamed of what what you have.
Well, I'm ashamed I never had a doubles before. I'm ashamed that, but I've never been to Trinidad before, so I wouldn't have had a doubles. But I'll tell you something. It doesn't have meat in it though, Kim. I said that before. It doesn't have meat, and if I wanted doubles, I wanted with meat in it. I wanted with chicken or lamb in it, right?
No. An authentic doubles does not have meat, even though we've got that. I've seen them doing, even putting oxtails in it.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can go to New York and get that as well. Right, Florida. You can get doubles in Florida. It may not taste as good as a Trinidadian one, but it will surely come close to it.
Doubles. But you mentioned something else that the professor that was talking about the reparations said that he doesn't want the money to go to the individuals themselves. He wants it to go to institutions. I agree with him, because I think our very first podcast we were talking about reparations. Remember when I said that, Kim, they give it to these leaders to distribute to these people individually. The money's going to be wasted. Yeah, they should go to institutions that could actually help people, and not just be spent with, politicians to distribute to their constituencies. That money will be wasted in a heartbeat, Kim. They'll give $1 trillion, and that money will be wasted. So I agree with that.
He is saying that when our reparations committee is established, by individual countries, that there is a designation period over which these monies ought to be paid, whether it be 10 years, 20 to 25 year periods. Mm-hmm. And that payment schedule ought to be worked out with each committee. Mm-hmm. He is talking about that you need to really uplift the health provisions of these people. They have access to housing, technology, and other areas in which descendants of the enslaved have all been deprived. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he wants it to be overseen by independent committees that is sacred from governments, is sacred from politics.
Okay.
That, definitely.
Finally, an adult showed up in this conversation. A sensible adult showed up in this conversation, but he may have a stake in the game for himself, because doesn't he work for academia? So he wants the money to be transferred through academia, I guess, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
He is with the International Court of Justice, and as well as the American Institute of Justice, I believe.
We're talking about the money. We got the money already, we didn't get the money yet.
No, but here's the thing. Former Jamaican Prime Minister P.J. Patterson says the next step is to the Privy Council. So they're going to arm up legally, because if you're not willing to give reparations in the form of monies, there is going to have to be some kind of legal redress, and they have to seek after that. So he's saying P.J. Patterson is calling for justice.
He trusts the legal system to provide that, especially if he's going up against the same people that enslaved.
He's looking at the Privy Council, right? I believe that we have enough senior counsel, King's Council, within our jurisdiction in the Caribbean that are of Caribbean heritage, that have the fortitude legally to do this, put up this fight. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I agree.
I
But
mean,
we all know that the justice system is really skewed, you know, and whether or not they will actually be in favor of you is another thing, you know. So I guess we just have to we just have to see what happens with it. But I doubt that they're going to take that serious.
ICC. I mean, he likened the whole situation to, okay, if justice could have been served somewhat to, the survivors of the Jewish Holocaust,
Hmm.
why can't it be done to the African enslaved?
You know, there's an
Right.
entire conversation about that, you know, because people will say, why is the Holocaust taken more serious and it was more recent and it affected less people when slavery affected not just a group of people, but actually an entire continent?
Continent.
Yeah, but the
Exactly.
argument is that because the Holocaust was televised and slavery really wasn't.
And here's the other argument they put forward, that it was not a matter of moral. It was not a moral issue, but it was just all about economics.
Yeah.
But you built an entire, you can say, entire monarchs, entire civilizations lived and thrived off human slavery. The enslavement of another human being.
That's just racist white rhetoric that really say it was about economics. You know, it was about you know, it was about racism. You know, you hated black people.
Exactly. It was they feeling they were superior.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. And right now they're pissing in our face when they tell us this, you know, like they think we're dumb now, right? It's only about economics, you know. We really didn't hate black people, but well, change some of the stuff that you're doing then.
No, exactly. Exactly. Because it has been something that has been perpetuated even to this day. Right.
Indeed.
And this is what PJ Patterson and these guys says. They spoke yesterday at the forum, which says Africans continue to suffer at the injustices of these people. You know, around the entire world, they are treated differently. You see it.
Yes. But I think it's about time we started to separate ourselves from Africans. You know, we are Caribbean people, Kim. I don't want to be lumped up with no Africans anymore, man. Even though I'm African descent, I really think we're a lot different than them right now. This entire experience in the Western Hemisphere has really transformed our way of being, our culture, and we're different from the Africans. I don't want to be lumped in with the Africans anymore, man.
And I hear you there, because I'm not one to be lumped with the Indians either.
Yes.
We're all different.
We're free thinkers in that sense, Kim. We're not going to be shackled by these perceptions and these stereotypes. We are free people to the Caribbean. And we are Caribbean, man. We are Caribbean.
And because of that, intermingling with one another, we've become this cosmopolitan society in the region here with other people. It has affected us and made us for the better, I believe.
Yes. Like I told you, I want all the Douglas, Kim. I want all the Douglas. When I come to turn out, I want to school all the Douglas. I want all of them, every last one of them, all the Douglas girls.
Oh dear.
I'm not a hater. Your society frowns upon them, but Yori wants them. Yori wants every Douglas he could find.
It's Dogla. You say it wrong.
Dogla. I want every Dogla I could find. Every last one. let's deepen the race.
So many people here all mixed up. Everyone's mixed up. You see the Chinese and the Indians mixed. You see the Chinese and the Africans mixed. You see the Indians and the Africans mixed. You see Portuguese mixed. There's quite a good bit of mixed here in Trinidad.
Yes.
You'd be confused actually as to what are you really.
Pick, choose, and refuse which one I want, right? I know. But yeah, we're making some progress. Some things are happening. But like I said, you know, it's gonna be a while. And I hope the money isn't wasted. And the money what Kamala is giving, Kamala is giving isn't wasted. I hope that we actually make some progress with this with the reparations, you know. Because we need it now for the climate change fight. You brought us here and now you left us in a dying wasteland with we're being ravaged by things that you've done, and you don't give us any money back. You know, that it's just sickening the way the world works, isn't it, right? You know,
it is. I mean,
and we're not going to solve all the wrongs here tonight on LimeVibe, but still, we have to make mention of it. We're not going to right all the wrongs.
In other news, what else is happening? I know the Caribbean Development Bank is gearing up for their 2 weeks of conference in the next few weeks.
Yes.
Starting next week in St. Lucia. So, they seem to be talking a good bit as to how They're going to handle businesses with female entrepreneurs and things like
Yes.
that. So that's
Yeah.
looking at things
They're back
different.
that. Yeah, yeah. They've been pushing that for the past 3 years now, though, the Caribbean Development Bank. They're really committed to that.
Yeah.
You know, I
They're
have to say
saying
that.
last year about 129 new contracts totaling to the tune of 414.9 million US dollars were awarded
Mhm.
under their capital and technical assistance projects.
Okay.
So, that's going to their borrowing member states here in the region
Mhm. Okay.
as to projects that it's supposed to be helping out, but when it comes to it's capital and technical assistance projects
Mhm.
in the region, yes, we do need to develop ourselves, especially after the pandemic. We saw that things needed to be changed in how we handle our technology and financial systems as well.
Yes, yes. We've seen technology play a pivotal part during the pandemic. If it wasn't for technology and telecommunications, we would have been dead in the water.
It was. But a part of it is saying that it looks at port management, working with developing the port management in the region and transport sectors. We would have seen that come under some heavy pressure during the pandemic, a lot of backlog happening. So they're looking at, boosting that sector through these loans offered by the CDB.
Yes, yes. And also boost trade as well, trade facilitation too, so all these things are interconnected, Kim. These things are interconnected. So if we have done our due diligence 10 years ago, the pandemic came down to a point really didn't have to hit us this hard, but because we're so insulated and we're so anti-trade, for the most part, most of us in the region, we're not really free traders. We've been ransacked. We've let technology leave us behind. We've let these infrastructural things just leave us in the dust. And so if we had fixed these things 10, 15, 20 years ago, and the WTO and the European Union came knocking, we wouldn't have had all these problems, but now we have these problems now. And so we have to fix them. So now you see why they were telling you to fix them.
Yeah. But I mean, when we look at it in the region, we've taken that for granted.
Yes.
Oh, well, we don't need to tend to that. But with, systemic changes happening, everything going digital as well, you need to come up to par. If you want to attract trade and investment, our region has been suffering at the hands of a lack of ease of doing business. When you look at us on the scales, we're down below. There's too much red tape. There's too much bureaucracy when it comes to trying to get business up and started in our region.
Yes.
Every country talks about that.
And for the most part, the English-speaking Caribbean, we're plagued with that because we've inherited a system from the British that is really paper-intensive in any event. And even now, they're having challenges with them trying to transfer over to a digital system, more or less. Even though they've done a pretty good job of doing it, but we've inherited a system from the British that's really paper-intensive and it's really legal-intensive, man. Some of their bills. Have you ever seen a recently ratified bill in the United Kingdom Parliament? There are reams and reams of paper, man.
Wow. Yeah.
They're almost as bad as the United States when they pass a bill. It's terrible. It's really terrible, man. Reams and reams of paper and policy documents. My goodness, man. So we can't continue to operate like that. But the difference between the United States and Britain is that the United States, they commit to action. In the British system, there's almost like is intentionally put in place to slow you down.
Exactly. What I heard Jamaica talking a good bit some time ago was that they were looking to privatize things like this, privatize your ports, privatize your transport systems, because government has too much red tape in it. And if you get a private sector company managing these systems, you might see a change. It all stems from the culture within the public service sector as well.
There's a problem there when you come down to privatizing that. We have a private port here, the Arawak port. And what happens is that they're going to extract rents from you, and the rents are going to get continually higher for more shareholders. And you're not going to have control of the port. And so you're going to be in the hands of a cabal of a few elite people that are just going to make money. That's going to really hold you hostage, man.
Really?
Yeah. The Arawak port. There's a big scandal when they gave that port to private individuals.
I did not. I mean, okay, so we're not seeing it in that sense. I've always seen it, at least when it came to us here in Trinidad, and I guess it's a culture. I don't know.
Yeah.
You expect the red tape to happen with your customs officers. They're not the ones getting high salaries. So, okay, if you want to get something done, you pass a bribe.
Mhm.
But I'm not expecting something like that to happen in the private sector.
Oh yeah, man. They're gonna slow you down. The private sector. And while I believe in the private sector, I believe in privatizing things. Some things should not be privatized. You know, your ports and your security of the port should not be privatized.
Really? Okay.
It should be privatized because that's your port. You know, that's where things come in for the entire country. So why would you give that to a group of private individuals? And any given day, their allegiance could change. You know, and
Very
then they're going to continually extract rents from the rest of the people, and they're going to hike up rates, just like how the government would not do, because they have a commitment to actually bringing things through the port. But a private company doesn't have that commitment to the citizenry. They're going to do what they're going to have to do. And so, like I said, it was a big scandal by giving that to a cabal of a few individuals here in the Bahamas, and it's been working out now. But trust me, what we've had gone through with them owning the port, and we don't own the port; it's not owned by the government. So we're at their mercy, more or less. We're at their pleasure. I don't like being at the pleasure of something that I really can't put my hand on, you know, a group of shadowy figures. I prefer the government to have things like the port. I sincerely do.
I hear you there. I see
So
it.
be careful when you talk about privatization. Be
I've,
careful.
I've, I've never seen it as being that way. Here in Trinidad, you always have the notion that private sector management is a little more efficient when it comes to getting things done. They don't want to be caught up in holding back stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
it's more efficient now. I'm not gonna don't get me wrong, it's more efficient though, Kim. It's more efficient. But do you want your control of your port in the hands of those people? And for them to be able to raise rents out of whim and to make money, and that's going to change the entire economy, you know, where 2 or 3 people they have all that money coming in through the port is a real serious stuff. So I would advise Jamaica to think about the political economy of it, really, not just the economics of the political economy of it. And do you really want your port in the hands of private individuals? And I would say at the end of the day, when you weigh it all in the balance, you really wouldn't want that.
right. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. We've tried and even though it's working, the port's working now. I would not have done that the way that it's happened. I would not have done that myself personally because it seemed corrupt at the end of the day, you know. Anyway, that's my rant for the night. I have a rant tonight, don't I, Kim? I
No,
have a
I mean,
rant.
I give you the sense in that, okay, Yuri is the one who is the economist. He has that background,
Yeah,
understanding how these things work. And it's nice to get a different perspective as to how private sector would affect, these basic systems. Because it's usually been touted that the way to go, the way to take off the burden even from our governments and to take off, the burden from taxpayers
mhm,
is to, relegate these services to the private sector.
yeah, yeah. And I agree, but you just have to balance out how it's going to affect the rest of the political economy when you do that, though.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's not an easy decision. Well, I guess it all depends on how bad the public sector is with managing the port inside Jamaica. Is it really piss poor? You mean it's really awful? It's terrible? Then by all means, privatize it, right?
I often hear them complaining as to, the backlog and how much payments when it comes to customs and excise fees they have to pay. Here in Trinidad, it's similar. We've removed governments before. They try to remove taxes on certain things, especially when it comes to computer parts and computer parts and computers coming into the country. They've left that to be tax free in a sense that we need that for our sectors. We need that for education. But they've
Yeah.
taxed books. They've brought the taxes back on books.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
bringing
okay.
in a book, you are going to be charged quite a hefty sum.
Yeah, and the freight, I guess, another situation, right?
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the freight and the storage and the shipping and handling. Yep, that's going to be a serious situation. But I say it could work. It could work if there's a broad stakeholder base where it's not in the hands of, let's say, about 5 or 10 people, where it's a company that's really has a broad base of investors from the small man to the big man. So everybody has a part, everybody has ownership in it, right? Otherwise, that wouldn't work because you're gonna have the money concentrated in the hands of a few individuals, and they're gonna affect other things in your economy as well. And they're gonna have access to all of your goods and shipments, whereas you will deal with the government. You're gonna deal with these private individuals who you're not sure who their allegiance are. You gotta be very careful with that, man. Very
Yeah.
careful. I've seen it happen in the Bahamas.
But with going back to the CDB report that it produced ahead of their meeting next week, it also spoke about Guyana and St. Vincent and Grenadines being their highest contract awards to borrowing member states last year. I think St. Vincent and the Grenadines was awarded the largest share of contracts by value with, I think it's about 23 contracts at the value of 180.5 US million dollars.
Okay, okay.
Guyana was awarded about 160 US million dollars when it came to about just about 3 contracts. So procurement by borrowing member countries. Yeah, and all of these things, it seems to be focused on developing their these sectors, the works and transport sector.
You already take a step back, Kim. You said St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I just have to tell you something that's so funny because we were prepared for Ralph Gonzalez when he came to the Bahamas. Our journalists were prepared for him because remember those comments he made about the Bahamas judicial system about giving bail to murderers? And I said they were in that crime symposium they had in Trinidad. Yeah, we were ready for him this year, man. So we were going to assault him. Yeah,
that was something.
Yeah, they were ready to confront him, man, because that was a discussion had in many newsrooms how they were going to confront.
The thing about Prime Minister Gonzalez, it's usually tricky to get a word in, right?
Yeah. You have to treat him with a grain of salt, man. You can't really take him serious, man. You could tell he just, running his gums, right?
I recall, I mean, to me, every press conference we have with him, it's usually a lengthy one before the reporters do get to ask a question.
Yeah.
And CARICOM heads of government is coming up. They're having their 50th anniversary. And because it was supposed to be held in Dominica in the next few weeks. However, Trinidad and Tobago says we're hijacking that because we're home of the Treaty of the Chaguaramas. They decided we're going to host it here in Trinidad.
Raleigh really carrying on. Raleigh really pushing his weight.
I guess so. I mean, we hosted CARICOM a few weeks ago. That was in April for the crime symposium. You all also had CARICOM. You all had CARICOM this week, twice this year. You all had us in February and just this week with Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, yeah. We've been doing
double duty for these islands, Bahamas and Trinidad, when it comes to, hosting our CARICOM neighbors.
Yeah, I guess because we have the facilities to do it,
I guess so. I mean, the last time we held it was in 2013, and everything was focused around the diplomatic center, which is the Prime Minister's residence. Okay. This time, I think everything is it's been scattered across like a National Performing Arts Center, that's Napa, as well as the Hyatt Regency Hotel, where they had the crime symposium a few weeks ago.
Okay.
The street is going to be buzzed. It means, basically the entire capital city lockdown.
Oh, okay. It's going to be like that. Okay.
Yeah. Instead of just, that, around the savannah, it's going to be basically the entire town. So I'm not really.
Funny, I have to see the savannah grass y'all keep talking about. I have to see the savannah.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest land masses. I think it's the largest savannah in this side of the world.
Okay.
And you can see the ocean because it's below sea level.
Okay. I want to see the savannah grass. I also want to go to the Brian Lara Stadium as well.
Well, that's not too far from where I live.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay.
It's literally a stone's throw. And from my parents' home, we can actually see it.
Okay. So when I come to Trinidad, we have to go to the Savannah Grass and we have to go to the Brian Lara Stadium, as well as we're going to bring all the Douglas with us.
Douglas.
We're going to bring all the Douglas with us. Kim, yeah, that's a wrap. It's 9:30 already, man. How you feeling, Kim? We had a good show tonight, man. We rambled a lot.
We went all around the entire world.
Yes, we did. We'd have no stone unturned what happened in the region. It was kind of a dead week this week outside of Kamala Harris. It was kind of like a dead week, but otherwise, we made it through. So, any final thoughts, Kim?
Just to have an enjoyable weekend. Stay safe. Stay out of the rain, Yori.
Yes. I jogged in the rain this morning. I said I took my energy pill. I'm not gonna let it waste, man. So I went out in the rain anyway. It was okay.
I don't believe in being outside in the rain. I'm afraid of getting sick, perhaps. I don't know. We're like that in Trinidad. Your parents tell you, stay out of the rain, you'll get sick.
But here's the thing, once you're moving, once you're sweating, you don't get sick. Once you're moving in the rain, you don't get sick. It's only when you sit down, you stagnate inside the rain, you get all the bacteria. That's when you start to really feel the sickness, the germs and the bacteria and diseases and the germs start to get on you, right? But once you're moving, you don't get sick. I came back, I jogged in the rain. I was quite fine, right as rain. No pun intended. So, Kim, thank you for joining me again for this other LimeVibe Live podcast. And I want to thank everybody out there who tuned in for us again tonight. So please, if you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe our videos on Facebook and YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe to our videos on YouTube and Facebook, LimeVibe 77. And also you would see a donate link right at the bottom of that description where you can actually donate to the show. And you can really show us how much you appreciate it. So please like, share, and subscribe to our videos on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you once again for joining us for another LimeVibe Live podcast. We'll see you again on Monday, is it right, Kim? No more holidays up until about July, right?
We've got Labor Day the following week.
Oh, okay. So you got a holiday. Okay. So we'll talk then, though, Kim. So thank you once again, Kim. Good night, everybody. Bye.